Hello class, I'm Dominic Bartoli. In this video, I'll be discussing my 20 observation hours on 5 different students, all with different cultural backgrounds, throughout 3 different grades, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, ages between 8 and 11 years old. I did my observations at Heights Murray Elementary in Wilkes-Barre School District, where there was a summer program for the school-based behavioral health students. The program is designed to teach and assist students throughout the school year and summer to work with their behaviors. Now, the summer program is more laid back than the actual school year. Students get the opportunity to interact with one another, work on their goals and expectations from their implemented treatment plans, including frustrations, staying on task, social skills, anger, stress, depression, ADHD, and relaxation management, compliance skill building, safety, and therapeutic recreational activities. I was able to observe the mornings for each of these students. The days usually started off by a quick review of each of the students, introducing themselves, and then stating their goals and expectations and what each student wanted to work on for that day. Afterwards, each student gets a breakfast and is allowed to socialize and interact with one another. Once breakfast is complete, depending on the weekday, students had the opportunity to either start off with learning sanctuary modules, computer-based educational programs, catch a free movie down the local theater, or work on expressive arts and relaxation activities. Once the morning was over, students received a lunch, and depending on the morning they had, the students were offered to enjoy themselves at the local community swimming pool or parks. Now, the first student I observed for 4 hours, I'll call her student number 1. She is an 11-year-old typical student diagnosed with a depression disorder who currently takes medication. The domain of the observation was held at the school, Heights Murray Elementary, in the school-based classroom with 6 staff and 12 other students. To sum up some of the observations I witnessed, throughout the morning she was well behaved, interacted and socialized with all students, followed directives and rules with no issues. However, minor prompts were given to her from staff due to frustrations when her time was up on the computers. She was able to handle herself appropriately. The client was given positive reinforcement from staff for controlling her impulses and frustrations, following directives, utilizing coping and relaxation skills, and keeping her boundaries. Future recommendations for student 1: work on frustrations with student, sit in seat, and raise hand to speak. The second student I observed for 4 hours, I'll call him student number 2. He is a 9-year-old typical student diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder who currently takes medication. The domain of the observation was held at the school, Heights Murray Elementary, in the school-based classroom with 6 staff and 8 other students. To sum up some of the observations I witnessed throughout the morning, the student started by getting redirected by staff for talking out loud and yelling out. Staff prompted and redirected the client several times. The client followed redirection but eventually fell off task until prompted again. The client did, however, interact with students, verbalized his feelings often, followed most directives and rules, kept boundaries, and utilized relaxation techniques. Client participated in computer activities and sanctuary with no issues. Positive reinforcement was given throughout the morning towards the student. Future recommendations for student number 2: don't speak while someone else is speaking, sit in seat, and raise hand in order to speak. The third student I observed for 4 hours, I'll call him student number 3. He is an 8-year-old typical student diagnosed with ADHD who currently takes medication. The domain of the observation was held at the school, Heights Murray Elementary, in the school-based classroom with 6 staff and 9 other students. To sum up some of the observations I witnessed throughout the morning, the student started off very shy, playing alone until breakfast was served. The student then followed sanctuary and then interacted with other students with no issues. Then student 3 completed his computer activities and was allowed to play games. He was very appropriate to all staff and students, followed all rules and directives. However, at lunchtime, student 3 was picking his scabs, causing them to bleed. The student was prompted by staff and given first aid. This has not been the first time the student was picking his scabs this school year. Future recommendations for student number 3: don't pick scabs due to future scarring. The fourth student I observed for 4 hours, I'll call him student 4. He is a 10-year-old atypical student diagnosed with ADHD and bipolar disorder who currently takes medication. The domain of the observations was held at the school, Heights Murray Elementary, in the school-based classroom with 6 staff and 12 other students. To sum up Some of the observations I witnessed throughout the morning: the student needed to be prompted several times for yelling out, speaking out, not following directives, out of seat, and he lost privileges due to his behaviors. The student stated to staff that he did not take his medication this morning. The student did, however, interact with other students, complete computer activities, and was able to follow prompts, but only for a short amount of time. This student lost recess time due to his early morning behaviors. This student seemed very frustrated for getting prompted and redirected. He kept repeating that he did not take his medication and it was not his fault. The student was able to finish the morning recess after his timeout. Future recommendations for the student: raise hand, sit in seat, sit down, wait for turn, keep hands to himself, and breathe and relax before attending to his next task. And for the last student, I observed for 4 hours. I'll call him student 5. He is an 11-year-old typical student diagnosed with ADHD who currently does not take medication. The domain of the observation was held at the school, Heights Murray Elementary, in the school-based classroom with 6 staff and 9 other students. To sum up some of the observations I witnessed throughout the morning: the student was very helpful, followed all rules and directives, interacted appropriately with other students, sat in seat, raised his hand, and assisted other students. This day, the student was allowed to attend the local movie theater to watch a movie. The student was very respectful in every aspect. The only future recommendation I have for the student's development is don't be so giving. The student loves to help and give his own personal items away. Overall, I learned a great deal of information towards my education degree. Getting the opportunity to sit and observe students really opens up another set of doors. Working with and assisting children is one thing, but sitting and observing without actually working is a great opportunity to see what education is all about. Thank you for watching.